Before we begin, thank you very much to Left Cheek, Left Cheek, Left Cheek. I can't scream it because I have other people in the house. But for pitching in over on Ko-fi, thank you very much for an amusing shout out. Always appreciate it. Always appreciate the support. It does keep me doing this every single day for you guys, whether it's Patreon, Ko-fi, or just letting the ads play, whitelisting the channel. That helps a lot too. So yeah, there's a lot of ways, and it all keeps me doing this. So thank you very much. Always appreciate it. I am a little bit behind on Ko-fi shoutouts, so if you've been waiting for yours, I am going to get to it. Admittedly, I might also be doubling up on some of these, so I'm trying. I'm still catching up from the vacation. But that's for another day. Today, we need to talk about Generation 2 repaint stuff. So this started getting me thinking about the whole like Hasbro completes collections thing, and it kind of got me wondering, what haven't we seen from G2 yet? Because right now they're in the midst of doing the Dinobots, and we know from listings they're going to be doing Sludge and Swoop as well, and I'm excited for them, don't get me wrong. I am actually excited to see some really weird random repaints, and that I'm excited to see the G1 Dinobots as like their own little Power Ranger team. But there is a lot of room in G2 to cover repaints that we have never gotten. You know, I'm kind of a 90s kid. I grew up on a lot of G2 toys, you know, like G1 stuff I got from yard sales. G2 stuff is where I started buying things off the shelf for myself, with allowance and such. So this is an era that's actually near and dear to me, and we don't see it often enough. And it's usually only in select pockets. So here's what we have that Hasbro has not done. And by the way, I am not looking for extra companies doing this. I don't care what FunPub did. I want Hasbro to make them. So we start with the Optimus Prime, which I think is hysterical because it literally is just a black trailer and that's it, and a sound pack as well. I feel like there is an opportunity here. We know from listings that a solo version of 86 Optimus is coming out as a leader class toy, sans trailer and extra accessories. They really need to do just like some Pulse exclusive repaint of the trailer with this like non-functioning noise box just for the sake of including it, and release that as a solo release on Pulse, just as a quick run exclusive for people who want to turn that individual Optimus into a G2 Optimus. It might be the only chance they get to do it. It would make me laugh. It would make me laugh a lot. It isn't just the trailer. The color tones on the G2 Optimus are a little bit darker, especially in the blue, and yeah, obviously has the giant missile launchers. This is not totally a completely new thing, you know, not totally just like the same toy. I don't know. I think it'd be funny. We have not seen them do Jazz. Now, again, FunPub did do a G2 Jazz. Okay, so we're not counting that, though. I'm waiting for Hasbro to do one of the modern Jazzes, specifically that 86 mold, in this color scheme. Now, granted, it's just deco. You know, it's just adding some rainbows to the side, and the musical note on the front and the top. And that's pretty much it. Like, it's just a lot of sticker modification. The toy itself is mostly the same, but they've repainted for less. They have absolutely repainted for less. The one I'm surprised about, and actually there's a whole run of them I'm surprised about. Again, FunPub did this as an individual release of the classics mold, but they have not done a G2 out of any of the modern molds, nor have Hasbro done a G2 since the 90s. Again, minor color differences. You're looking at stickers on the wings, this big sound box, again, that they probably wouldn't do. Modified missile launchers because he's not using his originals. I believe those come off of Dirge. If I'm remembering my Seeker components correctly. But it's definitely not his original launchers. The thing that gets me on this deco is he's pure white instead of gray. He's got the gray fists and gray accent details and that purple cockpit, which is a pretty distinct feature for a G2 Starscream. It's minor color difference, but you know Hasbro takes any excuse they can possibly get to repaint anything. So Why haven't we seen this? And on that account, where is this? So we do have we have a few toys based on those unreleased G2 color designs that we had gotten to see. But one of the things that we saw is this lovely like camouflage Starscream. This has not been released yet. Now they've done Cloud Cover and Sandstorm. We have not seen this camo deco on a Starscream yet. Probably because it leans too close to Acid Storm, especially his original Universe 2.0 toy. But a G1 Acid Storm toy would suit fine for me, you know, as a way of getting him out there again. But no, this one would have been cool, mostly because I like green and black. But speaking of, G2 Blackout never came out. This is, again, another odd one because it's a simple Starscream repaint, and it's a black repaint, too. Those generally do well. Sadly, no. As we know from the canceled Cybertron capsule at Walmart, I can't get black Starscream repaints anymore. Point being, it's another easy one that they haven't done, and this is potentially because it would lean too close to Thundercracker. My argument against that is the Troop Builder 4-pack that basically included Thundercracker, just a shade lighter in blue. Yeah, so if they're getting away with that, I don't see a problem with doing Blackout here just as, you know, another Seeker, because they love to just do whatever Seeker. Just weird to me. Okay, and here's another one. As long as we were speaking about those Walmart capsule lines, that's how we got, you know, a toy like Cloud Cover. Where is Laser Cycle Soundwave? We got the Jazz, except they renamed it Laser Cycle to avoid any kind of character confusion, because this is technically unreleased. They can make it whatever name or character they want because, you know, it's technically doesn't exist. It's just a production sample that never made it to full production. But it is a deco they haven't done. If they did the Laser Cycle Jazz, it's only fair for them to do the Soundwave as well. Kind of confusing where it is. Who knows? Who knows? We might see it someday. Because, again, Hasbro doesn't like to leave sets incomplete. So any kind of random capsule line where they can throw in a repaint of that Road Pig retool of that toy, you're probably going to see a Soundwave. It'd be nice to know we're going to get it, though. I actually like these color schemes on that design. Oh, well. Here's a run they haven't done for obvious reasons, but not quite undoable, though. So the G2 Minibots were all done in chrome. And these days, a lot of toy companies are avoiding chrome because it is expensive and it doesn't handle wear and tear very well. Toys start to break down, crack, chip, flake, look ugly in general. They don't want that, especially because you are also appealing to collectors today rather than just kids, meaning you do need to have some longevity. People need to be able to go back and buy the toys in the way that they are supposed to look, not chipped and cracked to hell. So I don't expect them to ever do this, but just a gold shaded Bumblebee, you know, just like gold painted, I would be completely okay with that. That seems like it's doable, but that's just because this is chrome. This is the only way to distinguish it from a normal yellow Bumblebee. When it comes to Beachcomber, it's way easier. You just repaint him with green and orange parts and have a new toy release. Now we have a retool of that Beachcomber mold, but we haven't gotten a straight repaint, and this is the only repaint Beachcomber would have. It would not surprise me to eventually see this from Hasbro, if only because it's an easy repaint of a mold they haven't technically repainted yet. Again, wouldn't be chrome, but I will admit some affinity to this one. This was my Beachcomber growing up. I would really like to see him flourish again if I can, please. I would like to have him in green. Not just because of my obsession with green. No, it's childhood nostalgia going on. Here's the one that won't happen, but it is possible. The red Hubcap. So the confusion with Hubcap in the original toy line is he is a retool of Cliffjumper. However, the toy had but the toy was yellow. So it just kind of got mistaken for Bumblebee a lot. But now we throw in the fact that he is still using the cliff jumper mold, but he's also red. He's red chrome. I'm not entirely sure why they went this route. Like if I have to presume that the original G1 version of the mold wasn't available or they hadn't found it yet. So they went with the season 3 mold instead and just chose red to keep him separated from Bumblebee. But also, I'm sure a lot of people think this is a G2 cliff jumper with just a weird head. Man, Hubcap gets a bad rap. Hubcap is just like that forgotten Minibot that doesn't get to do anything because he's always either too close to Bumblebee or too close to Cliff Jumper. I start to feel bad for him. He needs his own thing. Someone needs to reinvent Hubcap. Here's the obvious one everyone thought was going to happen during Combiner Wars, and they're nothing of it. And now we're going to speculate on it again. Where are my G2 Constructicons? This was an obvious repaint. Again, Hasbro being eager to repaint anything. You would have thought that the Combiner War Constructicons would have come out in yellow at some point, but no. They had a couple of weird, like, exclusive releases, and that's it. It's and they're always just green and purple. In one way or another, they're just green and purple. They never went this route. I don't know if it's because it's just not they don't think this is a popular enough color scheme for the Constructicons to sell at that kind of price point, or if, I don't frankly know. I frankly don't know. I have to assume it's because they think that the yellow color scheme is just not going to hit enough to sell, what at the time was like $160 figure, and now the modern one, which is over $200. I think they just don't have confidence in it selling for how expensive it'd have to be. There's also the potential of the fact that the G2 color scheme is split between yellow and orange. So which one would you release? Would you do the yellow one, which is the most common, or would you do the KB Toys orange version? You would probably do the yellow, in the same vein that the new Dinobots are going to be like the more well-known G2 colors and not their more obscure variants. You'd probably get away with the yellow more than anything. Still, I'm not entirely sure why. They've shown the interest in doing repaints of Titans with weirder color schemes, like the Sentinel repaint of Omega. Like that's a weird one to do because it's a one-off episode character. But this was some people's childhoods. This was my Devastator. I would love to see a yellow Devastator again. And no, I'm not going third party. I want Hasbro to actually do it. But speaking of combiners, now there's the obvious ones we know. They have not finished the G2 Stunticons. We do know that they are happening because they have actively said, yeah, we're still trying to figure out how to get them out there. However, there's a bigger mystery here, and this one goes back to Combiner Wars. Where are my G2 Protectabots? It's always fascinating to me how the G2 Stunticons hold so much of a higher priority among collectors and fans, when the G2 Protectabots are equally as rare, actually more rare, because one of their members wasn't a BotCon exclusive one year. I really think that's the thing. That a G2 breakdown existed, so a lot more fans became aware that G2 Stunticons were a thing. Thus, that's the one that became legendary within the fandom, and these guys just kind of languished in obscurity. So unfortunately, yeah, this is not this is not going to happen. This is not going to happen. They didn't do it in Combiner Wars. It's the only G2 Combiner they didn't do in Combiner Wars outside of Devastator. It's bizarre to me because it's an easy repaint. Here's how your blades look. Haven't done him. Here's your first aid. Haven't done him. Now, he was made with gold plastic back in the day. That makes him a little bit more trepidatious, but possible. We can do it today. You have Groove. Never saw a police motorcycle in bright orange, but, that was the Generation 2 thing. You'll note his art is completely different. His art calls for him to be a red and black motorcycle. Kind of interesting that that went so far departed from how it was originally depicted. And yeah, here we and the Streetwise as well. Streetwise is the one that actually makes sense. Black police cars are absolutely a thing. Now, granted, it might be because, frankly, the combined mode does not look great. I would argue there's a little bit more cohesion to Menasor than there is the Defensor. Just a little bit, right? Because like Defensor's color scheme is all over the place. Like it's super bright in some places, super dark in others, and you kind of got more darker hues. There's a little bit of brightness to Menasor, not quite as much though. And like I think the heavy blue and purple blends better than say like the dark blue, the bright red, and the orange. So yeah, Defensor might have been skipped because frankly the color scheme can be viewed as offensive to the eyes. So there's probably a few others, especially if you want to kind of skew things, you know, like, okay, can we do Hero Megatron, the purple one out of like 86 Megatron? If you start going into things like that, yeah, there's probably other ones we could cover, but I wanted to stick to ones that had existing molds that are just easy to just have Hasbro repaint right now. You know, and just look exactly how they would if they were proper updates of G2 toys. But that said, there are other avenues. So if we go internationally, did you realize that in Argentina, the companies that gave you Saltman actually re-released the toys and characters when G2 came out under G2 branding? So this was an official distributor of Transformers, but it was one of those that got away with doing their own color schemes and sometimes even their own toolings on some of these toys. So yeah, they have their, you know, they have their I can't even remember, their Robot Man X and Robot Man Y. I know, very thrilling names, but it gives them a chance to repaint a few of these toys again. You know, and I think Twin Twist looked pretty good in that black and white color scheme. And then there's this boy. And again, I'm not biased towards green. I just really like how Topspin looks in the white and the green. This would never happen. This is way too obscure. They are not going to do like super weird repaints of Argentinian figures. They got away with like one super obscure foreign retool. And that was the weird pipes that was still Huffer. That whole like the puffer retool, they got away with that one. I don't think they would get away with this much as I would like them to try. And they're not going to do this one that is well known. They're certainly not going to go to South Korea for the ones that are even more screwed up. So this was from a company. Okay, let me make sure I get the company name right. This is from a company called Toontown. Not the place Roger Rabbit's from. No, this is just this random Korean company that apparently had an official license for Hasbro and Transformers. Because they did release these with Hasbro branding attached to them. But there's others that they released that are questionable in their existence. If they really were actual releases or not. If they were official or not. So this has some ambiguity to it. It does look a little bit like the Ecto 1 Optimus Prime, the Ghostbusters Optimus Prime that has been released. But I'm just saying there are weirder avenues they could go to. There are. But that's your overall look. Those are the G2 toys we can get right now, but Hasbro has not given us yet. And in the name of completing lines, this is actually not that far off from just saying we've redone all of G2's repaints. It's really not. So let me know which one you would want to see. If Hasbro got a crazy idea to release one of these in the modern time, let me know which one you would want. And thank you very much for watching. I will see you next time. Hello everyone, I am Astral Agent Magnetar, a Tokusatsu VTuber, and I am streaming 4 times a week over on Twitch, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday afternoons, and a special late night one on late Friday/early Saturday. So come watch, come hang out, and let's make an impact together.